Hi, welcome. In this video blog, I want to discuss the issue of moving beyond this picture problem in the dog training world, and where it does become a type of delusion. I mean, so many of these dog trainers are turned over to it, and how things appear. Again, this kind of mirroring back and forth in between certain trainers in, say, the working dog part, and I show, again, I break this problem down. I show the source of the problem by way of this learning narrative. Again, when dogs don't step into the process, a lack of depth, a lack of insight into how a dog's decision-making process is governed. But here's the problem when you talk about truth, you talk about desire, and even facing off, because this is really the important part of this is, stepping into, say, a process as a trainer, into the dog training world as a trainer, and the contradictions, this disconnected picture, how it is that things don't line up that way, okay, in terms of this learning narrative, and through response, jumping right into, painting a picture, and then this disconnect, okay, by way of unwanted behavior issues diminishing. Because the same holds true, that nothing has gone away, that this is the source of the problem. But again, you get into this issue about challenging that, and this is where it's like self-challenge. This is where this really comes down to an issue of a character issue, a ethical issue, a personal choice on the part of each person who comes to the end of that picture, or comes into a decision-making process, whether just to push forward, and then just the focus gets shifted onto the dog as the problem, or even the ability to self-audit at the level where you're actually asking tough questions, saying, okay, well, sure, this works out fine for certain individuals. I talk about this naturalistic alignment, okay, but even being able to fit that piece in the relational puzzle, okay, how it is that within, say, the working dog group or police group, that this narrative isn't a problem for them. But this is, again, where it comes into a surrender. But it's very, and I talk about this issue about narcissism, okay, this issue of these people get highly offended, okay, when you confront what's happening, because it's like the ability to look beyond yourself and ask some bigger questions here, but trade-offs, and again, the issue of surrender. Because here's the thing, in order to go deeper depth, okay, you can't make it about yourself that way, okay, you have to make it about others. And the depth of the problem here, even these balanced dog trainers who get as offended as the pure positive, when you start to step on their toes, and not in a personal way, but they take it very personal, because because, again, their identity, and that's the thing to understand, these trainers, it's about relationships. So what dogs represent to them through fulfillment, through their careers, making money off this stuff, all those things all play. It's like a really bad cocktail. All those things play a role in their ability or inability to move beyond this picture, to actually call out this picture problem and say, hold on here a second, there's something happening here that is a problem, and it's massive. And so when I go through all these different things that are symptomatic of it, it's like they can't move, they can't go there. And so anyway, I want to point that out, that there's a lot happening here, these dynamics. But when you call this problem out, and you see just the level of people being offended without cause, I mean, their offense is about themselves, right? It's not about, look at the problem, but they can't talk about it because, again, their identity's tied up into it. So it's about them. And so you get into this issue about, I talk about this selfishness and this narcissism, which I'll talk about in a whole bunch of other videos, why this narrative itself aligns with the narcissistic characteristics so well. So it's a mask for these people. So it's hard for me, really, to, when I get into this and look at the response of these trainers, and just the falseness of not just the ideology, but just the fake and phoniness of what's going on social media, and getting a sense of who these people even are. It's just, everything's so false, everything's so phony, there's no depth, it's all appearance based. because that's what this ideology, that's what this narrative is built on. I mean, you got to understand. I mean, you consider the fact that I talk about deeper things here. I talk about the depth of the problem and align everything up. They can't go there because it's almost like they're so appearance driven. Everything's about appearances. Everything's about feelings, how they feel about it, and they get offended just based on how they feel, not about the problem. They can't go there. So because they can't surrender. I mean, a lot of these people are in absolute rebellion to nature, essentially, because dogs represent the essence of truth. I mean, and so very interesting. I'll get into all that too. So there's so much here. There's so many things that really, in the issue about surrender, it's about, and this is why I can't understand the responses here by a lot of these trainers, because for me, there's so much to be gained beyond that appearance-based narrative. There's so much in the relationship, which I'm going to talk about that as well. There's so much for me to talk about, that I'm going to really be putting a lot of in my video blogs here, talking about all these things that are amazing to me. I mean, that people are just missing it. People are just absolute. I see it as just blowing it. I can't. For me, it's like, I want to know. I mean, that's just how I'm built. Is years ago I wanted to know, even though I couldn't even answer the questions myself at the time. Other people around me couldn't. I was like, I'm going to find the answers, and I have, and I'm giving that information to other people. So anyway, be talking more about this issue. Thanks for watching.